My only concern is that Ignar is not really an enchanter guy, so I don't know that they really can play lane dominant.
My concern is that NRG, I feel like, is actually playing okay.
Yeah.
It's just right now, Weibo is playing better. So what are they going to switch up in this final draft? It's the time to do it now.
We've seen it already in Eco Ban. What else are we going to see? Let's head over to Captain. Hopefully he can give NRG some hope.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Chat, you might be getting a little ahead of yourself here. Not necessarily the final draft, potentially the final draft, because Weibo have been looking ferocious in this series so far.
Well, hopefully that comes in the form of some reaction with this Aphelios ban. NRG have decided to mix things up here. Light has been that guy. He has been the AD carry that just pumps out damage. He has delivered back to his team for investing resources. And then one of the bans that we did drop in order to ban the Aphelios is something that NRG got the first pick here, the Rumble for Dokla, priority for top lane.
This does open up Weibo to go for what's been a big strength for them, which is the Maokai and an AD mid laner. It has been the Tristana all summer long for Xiaohu, but I think you can just go towards something like the Jace here and still have a good time, but it's not going to be the case.
Yeah, the Caitlyn immediately locked in for Light this time with the Aphelios banned away. Also worth noting, the mid laners that have been played in both the previous games are both banned out by Weibo this time. No Orianna, no Nico.
Weibo were more than ready with AD carry number 2. Ready to step up here. You assume it's going to be a Lux out. Will NRG slam a Blitzcrank into it, expecting it, and try and crack it, or will they try and gank somewhere else? All right, Karma.
Okay.
Karma isn't like in the strongest individual place, but it is a very good pick into the Caitlyn Lux lanes.
Yeah, specifically into that. I wasn't sure if they were going to go for something like the Ashe and just try and have that push as an answer, but I actually was, when I saw the answer, I got a little bit nervous, but I think this is actually a decent spot as long as K'Sante doesn't get locked in here. Because if you end up with a K'Sante, it's going to be incredibly hard for you to actually try and get through a tanky front line that the Shy provides. So as long as you can get rid of those picks coming through here, I think you're in an okay spot.
All right, FBI is a legacy Ezreal player, so this bottom lane counter, this is kind of a very old counter, the Ezreal Karma. It's not even the Lux actually that ends up getting locked in answer to the Karma here. They pivot to the Heimerdinger, even after the nerfs to the turret health. It's still so good at pushing.
I think the thing is as well, it also provides a lot of AP damage on that bottom side. I think for Weibo, you're probably going to see a lot of this long range coming through with something like a Jason potentially in the mid lane. You've already got the Maokai there. Then you can set up where you as NRG have to play into Weibo, and you've already got, well, a Heimerdinger there, you're playing into Maokai, Caitlyn traps, Jace poke. It becomes really difficult to operate. So I think, again, NRG ban away the K'Sante, and then maybe even just chuck out a Jace ban to try and get rid of some of that long range that I think Weibo are going to set up.
All right, Jarvan, K'Sante, both banned out. Heimerdinger, Caitlyn, Maokai versus Rumble, Ezreal, Karma. Do they want to continue targeting junglers here on the side of Weibo, having already got that Maokai? Like you pointed out earlier, Dagda, this is something that was banned in the first 2 games. Having it now in this third one that could be the final game of the series is huge. So if they can knock contracts further down that tier list, could be a big difference maker. There it is, the Poppy banned away.
Yeah, they're looking at contracts there. Possible good combinations with the Rumble. NRG definitely need to get some sort of structure, some setup for their team fight, but now we still are looking at what the Shy is going to be able to play into Rumble. NRG afforded another protection ban here if they want to invest it into him. You know, Aatrox is playable into Rumble, but you have to switch over to Conqueror and do the more like range pokey style.
Yeah, I think you could even go for something like the Kennen if you really wanted to. Just have yourself, again, a bit more AP topside. I think you take the Jace here if you're going to be Weibo. And then you're in a spot where you've got 2 big, heavy AD damage dealers. You've got great opportunity if Weibo NRG try to play into you. But it looks like it's not. It's going to be a case of going towards the Gnar instead. So still having a little bit of hope coming through, but definitely another champion that thrives when you have to try and run at it.
I want to see what contracts goes here for, because they kind of need an AD jungle threat. Viego is a possibility, but they also want more structure for their team fight, you know, more AoE.
I think Wukong is a really strong pick here. You get the team fight setup that you want for the likes of this Rumble, you get the AD jungle that you really want, and also then the Speedo to pair alongside it would be sick. Okay!
Palafox Yone comes out again. NRG were notorious for being a flex Yone team. Both Dokla and Palafox love this champion. They 1v1 on it a lot, and we're going to get the team fight attack damage, technically, Sejuani, in pair with the double melee solo laners here for NRG. I love this comp. They've got the answer for the bottom side push. They've got the attack triangle of their top side of the map.
But this is what we're talking about, right? You just go for long range for Weibo. So now you have to make sure that you're pulling off these engages well, but also early for NRG. Caitlyn being able to set up traps, Jace being able to poke you out. The opportunity to even just like take space and control that is so strong for Weibo. So for NRG, it's about getting early control, getting towards the objectives first, and not allowing Weibo that opportunity.
And I want to see if Contracts on this Sejuani can make an early move to Palafox. Contracts and Palafox, the duo, has been at the forefront of this team so often. And when you have Sejuani plus Yone and you jump on the Jace, your Yone E's, your Sejuani gets in there, you hold the Q, and you use that stun priority. If they can take control of mid lane, then maybe they can make that leak into the other lanes.
The dream team fight setup for NRG is Yone being able to ult everybody together, throw Rumble ult over the top of it, True Shot Barrage over the top of it. If they can wombo this combo, they've got a shot. But like you already said, Dagda, between Caitlyn traps and Heimerdinger turrets, Maokai saplings, there are so many obnoxious little traps that the side of Weibo can set up to utilize their zone control and their range, that if NRG messes up even a little bit, one wrong step, all of a sudden everybody's at half HP, the fight's over before it starts.
And I think we're going to see a split in priorities here on both sides because of that, right? I think when you're NRG, it's like, hey, can I play around my top side? Triple threat when it comes towards proccing the Sejuani stun because we're all melee. Fantastic, thumbs up. Look towards bot side, you want to try and play for this Caitlyn Heimerdinger, get that push. Karma is somewhat good at being able to deny some of that with that ult Q combo, but you need to be able to let them get that vision, allow them to get to the turret, and Weibo have been so good at playing around bot, they have to see if they can do it one more time here against NRG.
Double death ball, 5-man play, going bot side for both teams.
It's on.
It is do or die for NRG. Win here or go home. Weibo dominating in game number 2 after a close game number 1. Oh man.
Light was able to poke off Contracts passive there with a single shot.
Shall hoop? Nope, not quite going to find the shot pass.
This is pretty common to try and kill Heimerdinger turrets and make sure that Heimerdinger lanes can't set up with the extra free privilege of that wave push. So that's why when Heimerdinger is picked on either team, you usually see full 5-on-5s to the bottom half.
And a huge amount of it is trying to get that deep turret in that bottom brush, so then are the furthest brush from you, so you can actually start to threaten on towards the wave, make sure you get that push. So NRG, it may not have looked like a win, but it is a win.
Yeah.
A reminder, connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab that exclusive Braum W emote that you see all the players flashing every time something goes wrong or right.
I love the pivot too.
Yep, they're just ready to go. All right, so everything's spawning up. Relief for the NA fans in the audience, Contracts does not have Weiwei in his jungle at level 1 this time.
He's starting eyes on Raptors, not letting those ones go away for free. All right, meanwhile, it is going to be a topside start there for Weibo as well. So Weiwei, again, surprise, surprise, will be pathing towards the bottom lane when you have these double shoving lanes. We'll see if Contracts is going to make some sort of early visit. Sejuani currently could have an option here through Krugs, but if you do, then you sacrifice your top quadrant.
I mean, this is definitely Contracts playing for the bot side. He's like, look, Weiwei is every single game so far in this series gone for a 3-camp into bot side pressure, and you can already see Contracts like, well, I'm just going to immediately do the same. Play off this bottom side, make sure that FBI and Ignar can get control of this early wave state, but it will set him behind on its clear speed.
With the counter of the Ezreal Karma and the skill shot poke here, you can also try and go for an invade on the Maokai. They did get an energy deep ward onto blue buff, so when you have control with bottom lane like this, you know, Ignar's going to be able to help out on priority.
Yeah, they go in hard after Crisp at level 1. They're not quite going to find him here, but Light and Crisp both taking a ton of damage as FBI and Ignar apply the pressure nice and early, and now it's Contracts invading Weiwei this time around.
And the bottom lane will leak over here. Karma already coming, Ignar heading up.
Crisp also rotating. He's only got 300 HP here on the Heimerdinger. Weiwei throws the sapling over the wall, goes in after Ignar. The follow-up comes out from the grenade. A lot of damage on Ignar, who has to flash away. Weiwei's ready for the follow. First blood over to Crisp. They even secure the blue. They might even find enough damage back on the Contracts now, who has to flash away. Weiwei survives. Crisp coming up and making the plays.
There was no FBI. He never came across the play, wasn't able to get into position, was fighting Light that whole time, and it means that NRG can't win out on the play.
I feel like that's a bit of hubris this from Ignar, walking into the brush, right into the face of Maokai. Weiwei can just W, roots you up for Chris to be able to land this. And Chris does a good job. He's hovering outside Fog of War right there, by the way. Really good job because Weibo knew the placement of the NRG ward. So Crisp, he hides behind that ledge just in the Fog of War. And then when Ignar walks up and gets rooted by Weiwei, Crisp lets him have it.
And I think they thought that Crisp had backed. I think Ignar was like, this is a 2v1. I'm going to make sure that there's no opportunity for any sort of smite pressure to come through, and ends up coming back to bite them. They just don't respect that Crisp is still there.
Yeah, I mean, the little bits of information and knowing that your opponent knows that your ward is there is so critical.
Big difference in the reaction cam when we see Ignar here compared to what we saw in game number 1 when he made a mistake and got caught. It was more of a, oh man, that was kind of goofy in game number 1. This one, you could see the frustration in the way it played out.
And still, though, you're getting control here for NRG on this bottom side. That play may have gone a little bit rocky, but 31 to 22 in CS. Turret plates going across. This is the exact opposite of how Light and Crisp want this game to go. And I think the big thing now for NRG is use this bot pressure to get Dragon. If you're able to stop Weibo from having that tempo and having that control around the Dragons, this game is going to become way, way easier for you.
Speaking of Weiwei, he's once again going after his favorite thing. Contracts his chicken camp. Jumping in now with a twisted advance. Xiaohu coming around to help him. Contracts! Contracts! What was that? What was that?
His Q got dodged. That was like watching a matador, you know? The bull charges forward. He thought his Q was just going to bump into Weiwei there, but he goes right through him. Weiwei, pretty smooth moves on a big old tree, dodging him out right into the hands of Xiaohu, rotating over from the Jace push on mid. And it is going from bad to worse. 2 kills now for Weibo. And Weibo on series point to make semi-finals at Worlds.
Yeah, I thought it was taking the Hobbits to Isengard, but basically this tree has been taking this Hobbit all around the map with him, and it's caused major issues. Now there's the Dragon gone as well. Contracts is only going to be looking at that, and all this pressure that NRG had done a good job of getting with the counter pick, controlling mid, is all starting to fall apart.
It was only a minute ago. You were talking about translating this pressure into a Dragon and how important that was. Now only 5.5 minutes into the game. It's first Drake over to Weibo, and it's not just first Drake, it's Ocean Drake. This early in the laning phase, that's a massive advantage for Weibo all across the lanes.
All right, NRG, they need to stay calm, stay focused. Still have possibilities. Go back to the game plan here, even with the early bumpy road. And it looks like Contracts is down there towards the bottom side, trying to make them back off. Again, though, they're having to go through Weibo vision now that they've lost the early game with these 2 kills, one on Ignar, one on Contracts. Ward and Tribrush, Ward up by Raptors as well. Any sort of movement down to this bottom side of the map is going to be sussed out and seen by Weibo.
It's also the fact that you're now going to start to struggle to keep control over this mid wave. It's been going relatively well for Palafox in the early stages, but now that you've got Serrated Dirt coming through from Xiaohu, you can very quickly clear out these waves, start to put a bit of pressure onto Palafox and make this lane just a little bit harder for him to keep full control on. So I think this is where you're going to see if Xiaohu and Weiwei can start to open up that pressure to alleviate some of the advantages bot side. No real opportunity for Weibo to try and pressure Riptide, I feel like, at the moment, with Tokla having that advantage on top end, but you still need to keep an eye out for that if you're on NRG.
The Shy going in here with the Mega Gnar combo, jumping in for an aggressive trade against Dokla. Dokla has already used his teleport to return to the lane. The Shy has not. As long as he can just trade as aggro as possible before he goes back to base and then returns, he's going to have that HP advantage. He's going to have that edge in future trades.
Yeah, Shy has not even based yet, has not even popped his potion yet. Laning really, really well on the Gnar with the fleet footwork. Honestly, let's see about the transition, though, because Contracts did come over. They try to get some vision down through the Rifter out here. It looks like they got one inside to the pit as well as the Scuttle Crab, so vision definitely secured.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for Contracts to hit level 6. You can see him moving back down towards this bottom side. Do your red buff, move in towards mid, maybe look for a play with Dokla as he's leaning down, or at least have access to that ultimate as you try and make something happen, because at the moment, if you don't have it, it just becomes so much more difficult to find that engage versus Weibo when they're going to be able to use that range on the top end.
Caitlyn and Heimerdinger having the edge here in the bottom lane now with that push. Still, Slight farm advantage over to FBI because of the way that the early lane was going. Contracts now with a level 6. The Glacial Prison, a massive tool for being able to make these plays. Clears out that turret there in the bottom side river. Palafox also hovering down here towards this part of the mid lane just in case somebody would have came after Contracts. Light going after the poke here with the Piltover Peacemakers. They want to try to go for something here. Fate sealed into the Glacial Prison, but the timing isn't right. Xiaohu has the opportunity to flash away.
And that's huge now for Weibo, because Xiaohu will still be relevant when it comes to these fights. You don't have the ultimate for Contracts and Palafox to try and fight for Rift Herald, but it may not even be the call for Weibo. Look at Weiwei. He's like, I'm going straight for the bot lane dive.
And he's already summoning up the Twisted Advance. FBI's gonna get caught out here at the beginning, gets cleansed, trying to get away from it still, flashing to drag Weiwei with them, but it ain't gonna matter. FBI just gets shot to pieces. Light grabs the kill. 3-0 game for Weibo.
Weiwei's back in his home, bottom lane. Good force from him with the Maokai ultimate. They've got what they came for. They got the push. Weiwei wants a little bit more. Can he smite fight on this? Contracts doesn't have his smite anymore. And Weiwei gets rooted up.
Yep, Weiwei rooted up. The Ignite comes down as well. Contract still going after him. Gets the Arctic Assault that time, flashing after him. Palafox wants in here. They go in to facilitate the E. Palafox grabbing the kill. Energy is on the board.
A kill just where they need it. Into the hope here for Energy. The Yone getting some money to try and fund this team fight. Palafox on the roam down bottom. He had used his ultimate previously on the gank onto Xiaohu to get Xiaohu's flash. Here he uses his flash. So now flashes and flash advantage kind of evened up there towards the mid lane. Next visit will be support roam timers here. You already see Crisp out and trying to get priority in the river for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, the reset from Zokla though means you've no control over top side. Palafox also hasn't reset after that fight as well, so you're in a bit of an awkward situation here for NRG as you try and contest on towards the top side, but we're going to get a replay here. Weiwei immediately with the ult, and even though FBI cleanses, just barely getting pipped by this Twisted Advance, sets up then for Weibo.
Back to live. Palafox in a bad spot. He tries to use the Soul Unbound, but it's not going to get him away from this one. Xiaohu takes the kill. Weibo picking up their 4th kill of the game with control over the topside river. They immediately pick up the Herald as the prize.
And that was the early prep that we were just highlighting before we went into that replay. These wards here, Chris got there first on the reset from supports. He was able to the super deep ward that they saw all the entry paths. The Shy was able to push up, and so Weibo snowballing right now. Turret plates mid, Rift Herald immediately used, and they can transition over to Dragon as well.
Yeah, especially with Light getting that damage onto FBI on the bot side. Ignar trying to see if he can wrap around. He's beat Crisp to the punch, but can he get on towards Light to get a kill?
Ooh, Light trying to play super aggressively. Now he tries to get away as Ignar's going in. A little bit more damage. True shot, barrage strikes true, and Light falls down. Xiaohu wanted to join in with a teleport just in case, but they couldn't save their AD carry in time.
They don't have FBI for this fight though on NRG side, so Weibo still in a position where they can try and contest. Not sure though, as they want to try and give this space over towards NRG. Palafox having push in mid, going to make things a bit easier for them to start to move over towards the bottom side.
Oh, Ignar, blink and you'll miss it. Xiaohu sets the trap, and Ignar walks right in. Weibo grabbed their 5th kill of the game as a TP summoned up for Energy, and they want to try to get something back. Palafox arrives, but it's all too little and all too late.
That means there's going to be a huge power deficit now. We've got Caitlyn Light here going to be able to push out mid. Xiaohu with the heroics there. The burst from Jace, so much damage. Immediately deletes Ignar and means that Weibo get to push mid with that Caitlyn and take the Dragon at their leisure.
Man, oh man, another Drake going the way of Weibo, another plate going the way of Light. Everything is coming up Weibo here in game number 3. They're up 2,000 gold, 2 Drakes to nothing, 12 minutes in.
But the problem is, it's actually coming off of NRG's over-enthusiasm to try and make these plays happen. Like, Weibo are looking for the play, weren't looking for the play on bot side. It's Ignar who roams into the face of Xiaohu and gives that kill across. Then Contracts whiffing on the ultimate means that Weibo are able to go for Dragon. It's NRG that are just pushing the envelope too far, and Weibo are punishing.
Dagda, if you don't love Energy at their 2-0 over G2, then you don't deserve them here, because this is how they always look for the aggressive play. They're always looking to preempt it and be the ones to start it out. This time around, they're getting punished at each face check. Level 2, was it? The first one from Ignar on the invade in jungle. And here again, their idea there was catch Xiaohu, Ignar try and shield himself and keep him in, and off of that kill, they wanted to chain it into a dragon and start to claw their way back in. And they're a team that always wants to make their own win cons, make their own comebacks into these games, and sometimes they get punished for it.
Xiaohu and Weiwei looking for a potential dive here on Palafox, not going to find it. Decided discretion's the better part of valor on this one. Contract's going to face check into the brush there that Crisp was waiting in. Now Palafox in trouble. Twisted Advance comes out. Nice buffer through the CC from Palafox, but it cost him his ult to get away.
It'll cost them bot lane tower as well. The amount of control that Weibo have on this bottom side is absolutely insane, and Xiaohu already taken plates. Light has pushed him mid, so he's leaning down. I don't know if NRG can stick around that long.
Well, Palafox is going to step forward with a Soul Unbound. They can at least clear the wave away. Remember, it's only the first Herald. It does about 1.5 plates worth of damage. So Weibo could summon it up, take the guaranteed 2 plates that are left here, but the clock has now moved past that point. So this turret is done for, you would have to think. A little bit more damage coming out there. The Jace extra attack speed allowing him to put the DPS into it. True Shot Barrage over the top, going after the minions. Ain't going to get it done. First turret of the game goes to Weibo.
And you can look at the map. Look at where the Shy is. Weibo knows that they've been given a lot of extra advantages in this game. So they're like, look, as long as we don't give anything back, we can play through those wins that we have, play through the strength of Xiaohu, and not give the opportunity for NRG to strike back. Dokla with the Shy hovering around here. He should be all right, though.
Yeah, this is definitely one of Xiaohu's best games so far at Worlds. Definitely been a member of the team people have been looking for more from with such a high bar set. And his Jace is going to be a huge part of now the siege from Weibo. Trying to move him around to some of these towers as
oh no,
Crisp
the
is gonna roam in.
That was a big wallop there to catch Dokla on the very edge. Now Crisp shows up with a bouncing grenade. But Weibo don't want to overcommit onto this. They don't want to try to force something. Contracts and Ignar both making their way up here. It's a 4-man play from NRG, but a teleport coming back in from Weibo to answer.
The Shy coming back in, but I think they're just going to back away from this one. You can already see where Xiaohu is positioned on this bottom side. He's going to push in, so NRG going to be forced to back away. And I agree with what Kobe said for Xiaohu. This is a player that has been so downtrodden coming into this World Championship. A lot of people, both on the Western side and also in the Chinese community, have been like, look, Xiaohu doesn't make it past October when it comes to the World Championship. So often, he's the guy that has been questioned when it comes in. But when you look at that lane economy snapshot by MasterCard, you can see how big an advantage Xiaohu has gained for his team here, and he wants to try and continue it forward.
All right, Weiwei is the target this time, but again, NRG cannot get the CC chain they need to guarantee these kills. Even when they find that first part of it, the rest isn't there. Palafox versus the Shy up in the top part of the map. Soul Unbound. Oh no! A rock to the face! Learn your place! The Shy absolutely decimates him there in the 1v1. That wasn't even close. Dokla now losing to Xiaohu in the bottom lane. Drops the equalizer. It ain't gonna matter. Flashing the auto attacks. Weibo is just better.
That's the Xiaohu that did so much work for them in the regular season. All right, Weibo really came to play now. The Shy pushing on top turret, Light pushing on mid turret, NRG trying to fight back!
They want to try to find something here, but again, it's just Crisp and Weiwei knowing their limits and backing off once NRG try to make a move.
And this is what we were saying, the second Weibo get control. It is so hard to play into this composition. They control space so well, they deny you access so well, and now you've got Xiaohu with 3 kills. You've got Light, who's managed to pick up the gold that he needs off of the towers, and he's starting to take over. Weibo want to make this a 3-0.
6,000 gold at 17 minutes is the recipe to do just that. Weibo loving the state of the game. Third Drake of the game is live. It's a Hex Soul this time around, and Weibo's primed to put themselves in a spot for Soul Point.
Yeah, especially with 2 items now completed on towards Xiaohu. I mean, if there's one thing we learned from his Lucian, this man is pretty good at AD champions. We got to see it with his Tristana domestically in the LPL, 72% win rate on that pick. And now, with this Jace full firing, they're just getting prio mid. They're going to start to lean in towards this bot side. And NRG, they need to try and find Weibo while they're split, but they're not really in a position to even go for it because Palafox, he's trying to catch the wave mid.
FBI and the rest of NRG trying to take control over this bot side river and set up for the
He's gone!
Xiaohu's already on a rampage. Palafox is gone. The Twisted Advance is out. Equalizer over the top, but Dokla's going to be the target here as Xiaohu finally shut down. FBI taking the credit on that one, but he's traded back over to Dokla, who dies to light. Meanwhile, Ignar makes an escape to the Hex Gates, and now Weiwei and the rest of Weibo have control over this Drake. They have control over the river. They have a 4v3 on the Rift. Contracts, you don't want to go in there, buddy. It's no way out. Soul point over to Weibo.
Huge stuff for Weibo. So much control in the game now, and with all these sieging options available to them, it's only 18.5 minutes into the game. They can continue to control the Rift, wait patiently for the Baron to come up.
And they still have that Rift Herald. They can still go for more here as well as they start to siege up. But you see here, Weibo push out mid, Xiaohu goes into the darkness, and Palafox is gone immediately. And NRG, they don't really fall as quickly, but they still end up falling off the back of this. It's a good ult from Dokla to set up for the kill on towards Xiaohu, but they just don't have enough in the tank, especially as the Shy is chasing down members.
Yeah, and Xiaohu has been so good in the LPL and so good at MSI, winning 3 times. It's just been Worlds, the tournament, that has been kind of elusive for him. So maybe this is the time.
I mean, the Emperor of Spring has always been the moniker, and unfortunately for him, he's never been able to shift that over towards Worlds. And now Dokla may need to shift out of here.
I feel like every single time the camera pans to an isolated member of NRG, it's a Twisted Advance coming from the trees. They're alive, and they're after NRG. Weiwei 2-1-3 here on the Maokai, having another good showing.
And in the amount of vision they have on this top side, there goes the Rift Herald. They know that NRG are not in a position to chase for this, so that's going to be the first tier 2 cracked open here for the Weibo side.
All right, Xiaohu going to finish up this turret with that Rift Herald as they teleport on it, actually. NRG are making a strike at a possible comeback. Can they get him? Contracts ult!
Palafox goes in. Xiaohu's a big target if they can take him down. He wants to disengage,
They got him.
but the damage on the Soul Unbound is enough to secure the kill. Now what about the counter punch? NRG trying to escape. Weiwei and the Shy still going forward. The Shy has the Hull Breaker. Very, very powerful. If he's isolated, remember, gives him a ton of extra resistances. Has teammates nearby him right now. And even though it's Weibo who lost a man, they're still feeling fine about the state of things.
They're just going to back away, make sure that they're not going to lose anything else off the back of that. NRG not really in a position to do particularly much here, because you'll be able to come back into the Rift in a couple of moments. You've got the TP available for Xiaohu as well. The Shy still playing with his food here a little bit, and I don't know if NRG are going to bite back.
They're gonna watch the Shy just sort of walk back and forth. That's about all they can do. It's real dangerous to go near these guys. We talked about the strength of the composition, having Maokai saplings, Heimerdinger turrets, Caitlyn traps, all being able to control this zone. And now with the Shy having a hull breaker, it just means the more that you mess around trying to break through this defense, break through this zone control, the more Weibo is gonna get somewhere else on the map.
It also means that if you're up against Dokla as the Shy, he's not going to do anything to your minions. The extra magic resist that gives to a cannon minion is absurd for a Rumble to try and deal with. So it sets up beautifully for Weibo to have that 4-man threat and then the sideline pressure. The sideline pressure, though, might come back to bite the Shy.
All right, NRG sending 3 men after him. Make it 4 as the TP's coming in. The Shy trying to fight these guys, just jumps back over the head, styling on him for now, but can he continue getting away? Twisted Advance over the top, true shot barrage to get it done. The Shy falls first. Equalizer now falling as Contracts drops. Xiaohu's got the damage, and Palafox has to retreat. Weiwei leading the charge yet again with a Twisted Advance as Dokla barely stays alive. Weiwei having a flash out, double kill back over to Xiaohu. Palafox goes in, gets one back of his own. Light still trying to get another kill. There's so many low health bars on NRG. Weibo come out on top. It's a 2-for-2 trade, but the health bars favor Weibo.
NRG still trying to fight their way back into this game. They make another pick on the sideline. They get the Shy, they get his flash. Weibo, though, they walk away again, and they still have so much of an advantage with all of these pushing lanes.
Palafox is trying his damnedest in these fights. He's been trying to set up, of course, not only just in this game, but all series long. Does end up going ways off on that engage, but then the follow-up here to get the pick onto the Shy, sets that up, and then even as the fight starts to continue, it's a bit unfortunate. Xiaohu gets the Duskblade as he's going across the Rumble ult, so it doesn't get all that damage. And then here again, Palafox gets access to the Soul Unbound. he jumps in once more, trying to make sure that he can find those last little ticks of damage to take down Weiwei in the backline and try and make these fights even. But back to live, we're at the Dragon Pit.
We're at the Dragon Pit, and it's soul point on a Hex Soul for Weibo. They are up 7,000 gold, and they are demanding a fight in open ground from NRG as an accelerated shock blast takes a third of FBI's health. NRG have to find a miracle here, and they aren't going to get it like that. A flash out from Chris gets rid of the ulti from the Yone. Palafox down to half HP. Total control here for Weibo. The Shy is transformed. He jumps over the wall, finds the hit on the Q, but it's only under contracts who can't be slowed. Still low HP for NRG. Weibo still total control, zoning them back away in the top lane. The Shy back into Mininar form, throws out the boomerang, not going to connect on the first toss, still chasing. Accelerated shock blast, not finding the target there. NRG are forced all the way back into the top gate of their base, and Weibo begin hiking back to the Dragon Pit.
Yep, Dragon Soul is up and ready to be taken. They started out here. Hex gates, we've got FBI coming from the base. There's a Hex gate here. They're going to go for it.
This is it.
Caitlyn traps.
NRG trying to approach on this, but Weibo, they know it's so huge if they get it. The engage is immediately going to find Chris, but now NRG's got to be careful. The Dragon's been claimed. The soul belongs to Weibo. The game belongs to Weibo. Everything's about to go to Weibo. Xiaohu's in a killing spree. 2 are already dead on NRG's side. Palafox is going to join them, and Weibo are merciless.
The first year that all 4 seeds of the LPL get to a quarterfinals, and Weibo wants to show that they belong in a semi-finals as well. They find the fight, and they immediately turn towards Baron.
Baron will be taken as we go into the replay. NRG know there is now or nothing. They go for it. They try and get the steal. The Ezreal ultimate over it, but Weibo get the Dragon, even though NRG make the pick onto Crisp. And then it's all members forward. They charge them down, Shy right into the back line.
And you can see the chain lightning bouncing around even in this fight because they claimed the soul as the team fight broke out. Weibo then grabbing everything, the Baron right after. They've got that for the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Honestly, I don't even know if the game's going to last that long.
And that's what I was going to say. The chain of events we're going to see now happening is going to be so difficult for NRG to deal with. You start to push in here as Light, as Xiaohu start to siege onto the mid lane turret. That's already crumbling. A Stiff Breeze is going to take that down for Weibo. You then start to look at the bot side. The Shy already setting up his business in this bot line. He wants to make sure that he can get that income for himself. And even might look for Palafox here as he's forced to run away. As long as you've got this Baron buff, you are delighted as Weibo.
Light just using that ace in the hole to chip away at the health of FBI, who does not have a lot of sustain. Palafox going over the wall, doesn't find anything with the ulti except a death. Now they got the Maokai. The Shy's ready for the follow-up. He locks down 2. Ignor's dead. Dokla's dead. There's no chance left for NRG as FBI is sniped from downtown. A double kill. Back for Xiaohu. He's ready to silence the doubters, to quiet the haters. Weibo is going to go through those Nexus turrets like butter. Hope is a dangerous thing, and Weibo will crush the hopes of North America, crush the Nexus turrets, and crush this quarterfinal. They earn their place in the semifinals.
The LPL showing up here against the LCS. It looked close in game number 1, but it was quickly squashed by Weibo as they continue to ramp up over the course of Worlds.
Strong answers from Weibo here with a 3-0 victory. And they will be our first team in the semifinals. Congratulations. Take a bow.
Gen G or BLG are going to be their opponents waiting for them, and that is going to be another step that they are going to have to try and muster up the strength for.